Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Equity Guys pre-market video. My name is Chirag, a NISM certified technical analyst, and let's get into the view for today. So, looking at the view for today, we do see that Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures both trading at a premium of 91 points and 204 points respectively. So, extremely bullish in nature in that aspect. Moving on, we do see that you know uh, India VIX is down 2.29% here, so that is also extremely positive in nature. With that being said, crude oil is on the neutral levels here. So with crude oil being on the neutral levels here, but we're still trading below pre-COVID levels, we could say we are slightly neutral to on the bullish side on crude oil. Finally, looking at GIFT Nifty, we do see a small gap down of 43 points. So we can expect a small gap down or maybe even a neutral opening in Nifty today. Moving on to gold bees and silver bees. Gold bees up 0.77% and silver bees up 3.68% here. So that is the data for Nifty here. Moving on to the sectors here, we do see major sectors like IT, BankX, and auto have started coming into the positives here. Even the industrial sector, infrastructure, and industrials, all being extremely on the positive side. So overall, we can say that the industry in the sectors is actually on the positive side here. Looking at the NSE data, we do see that it's quite neutral. Looking at NSE data, advances of only 1559 and declines of 1482 is what we are seeing. So quite neutral on the advances and the declines here. Looking at the FII DII data, FIIs have started buying a slight bit in the cash market here, and DIIs also have slowed down a little bit of buying here. So we can see about 129 crores from FIIs in the cash market on the 12th of September. And going on to the FNO market, the FNO market is where the FIIs did start buying in index futures. That is why we saw Nifty close towards the day high there. And in stock futures, we also see buying of about 1,000 crores. So looking at it from an intraday perspective, this is extremely positive because the FIIs have kicked in from the stock and index futures. But we would want to see a little bit more cash market buying so that we have a long-term sort of growth in the Nifty index over there. Looking at the advance decline ratio, we do see 29 advances and 19 declines for Nifty 50, and we do see only 2 advances and 9 declines in Bank Nifty. So for Nifty 50, we do see it as positive. Bank Nifty is quite negative. The banks are performing a little bit less, but once they pick it up, definitely both indexes should be up today. Moving over to the option chain. So option chain, we are one day off from expiry over here, but regardless, on the left side we do have calls. So we see buying in the money calls but selling it out of the money calls, a slight bit of selling here. And on the right side we have puts, so we have buying both in and out of the money over there. So now looking at this data here, looking at the data here, even it with being bullish and expecting the slight gap down, so putting both the data together, we can definitely mark 2550 or even 2500 as a key sort of supports that it can come to. I do believe 2550 is a key level that it can come down to, and then from there it can take support and can move up. So this is definitely a very important zone that we need to look at for today, and this will definitely be a key factor to maintain the entire day for it to keep going up today. So moving on to the global indices, we definitely do see that the US is doing kind of mixed. S&P 500 neutral, Nasdaq on the positive side, and Dow Jones on the negative side of 0.6%. So definitely kind of mixed data coming from there. Definitely more on the bearish side, but still I would say neutral to mixed data is what we're getting here from the US side of things. Moving on to Europe we see DAX kind of neutral of 0.02, FTSE slightly negative of 0.15, and CAC also neutral of 0.02. So again, mixed data coming from here, but mostly on the neutral side from Europe too. So finally, moving on to the Asian markets. Asian markets here, Nikkei is doing extremely well, positive of 0.9% here, but Nikkei is actually closed for today. So we're looking at the previous data, but Kospi on the other hand is moving up at a neutral pace of 0.10. So Nikkei closed really well here, but unfortunately the markets are not open today. But then Kospi is running at a positive of 0.09, 0.1% here. So very neutral data coming in from the global markets. So moving on to Indian ADRs are actually not looking too good. You see selling in a lot of major companies like HDFC, Dr. Reddy's, even Wipro, even Infosys. Only ICICI is seeing a little bit of buying here, which is not at all good here. Finally, moving on to the future segment. Future segment is doing pretty okay, still very neutral on the side. US 30, US 500 and Tech 100 all on the neutral side of 0.04, zero 0.04 zero 0.04 and 0.02 here. So let's move on to the view for today. Looking at the final view for today, we do see that PCR is going to be an important part to look out here. So PCR is at that 1.33 levels, and we do see that there is a gap down and there is a gap zone on the bottom. But 2550 is a huge support that we need to maintain, and overall we need to close above that level in order to see rallies on the upside. But again, guys, don't trade the view, trade the setup. Make sure you guys are not trading your emotions. Trade one index, one time frame, and yeah, we should be seeing an upward move today, the slightly on the upside, but there are high chances that if the 15-minute low is broken, there can be a move on the downside. So this is the overall view for the day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope to see you guys tomorrow.